Into the Nexus is a production of amove.tv. Bookmark Amove TV for other great video games and esports podcasts. Into the Nexus is sponsored by listeners like you via patreon.com/ITN. Greetings and welcome everyone to Into the Nexus, episode 247. I'm Garrett Weinzierl. I'm joined as always by Kyle Fergusson. How are you faring this week, Kyle?
I'm doing well. Got all my placements done.
Ooh, both Hero League and Team
League. Did them all.
Damn, son.
Marathoned.
So I guess we're just going straight into it. How does it feel? Game.
It feels like we've told Blizzard what we wanted, and what we wanted is a very tame and sensible game with long queues. Okay. Basically, placements aren't that bombastic anymore. But we did that to ourselves.
That is, how did we do that to ourselves? By requesting more and more improvements?
That we didn't want them to be loosened as much. We want them to basically count as normal hidden games. Both of them, my Hero League, I went 5-5, ended up a league lower. But if I had done the 5 in the order I had done them, with the first a win and then a couple losses in a row, I think I would have ended up a league lower in the first place. So Diamond 5 for that guy. And Team League, I went 8-2 and went up one league, which is probably what would happen if I got a little lucky with the placements as they go. So here at the top of the show, let me just take on my big ol' my tinfoil hat again, out of the box, fresh, shake it off, put it back on. I have a theory, and I hope it's true this time. It's not just crazy. I hope it's true. The guys who design the systems, we know they're different than the art team, that they're different than the balance team. We didn't get our big quest update to MMR, no more placements push this time. Sometime in 2019. I would like to imagine that those guys are hard at work at the crowdsourcing system that'll be inside the game to support HGC, and that's why we haven't heard anything yet.
Crowdsource? Oh, gotcha. You mean more tournament bucks from players buying things.
Yeah, so if there is less tournament bucks, whether you believe that Activision said, Blizzard, you must decrease spending, or if Blizzard wants to cut spending, or whatever's happening in the background, I'd like to hope that's what's happening, because 10 placements is a lot. It still is. Great for viewership. It's a solid thing. So
you're linking long queues to esports improvements?
Not at all. I'm just saying I'm a little sad that we're not down to one placement. We don't have those placement quests. We don't have MMR yet. I want all those things, but I'd like to imagine we didn't get them now in this season because there is something even better being worked on by that very same team.
I mean, I would just make a plea for sanity. I think there's a very strong chance they didn't implement those changes because there's so many damn changes that just got implemented. And when they're looking at data and when they're looking at feedback from the players, would like some manner of focus.
True, and look at the numbers too. Like, look at the number of people who are quick match only. It's crazy. The 60%, 63% of the player base is just quick match. And they impose the changes that would affect the most players first.
Yeah. I will say my quick match queues have been terrible if I'm not playing an XP boosting character at the moment.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of reports of people just straight up being told, you can't play right now.
There's a message like that in the game?
Yeah, it's like that character is not available for queue. You should try picking a boosted character.
I haven't seen that. And I've waited a very long time for Sylvanas in quick match this week. So I would imagine I would have seen that. That's bananas. That's really a thing? This is confirmed?
Reddit showed me pictures. I haven't seen it myself, but I haven't been in quick match. You know what I do in quick match nowadays? It's a wind down after doing a whole bunch of league games, and it's exactly what we did during the patron game this last week. I get on Morales and do medevac and fly a group of 5 people around like a crazy man because it's really relaxing and very different.
Dude, that the post Bonanza game the Bonanza was great. We did great. We came out in the green. We won more than we lost. But I got to Valera in that post Bonanza game while you Morales flew everybody around like a chauffeur. There's got to be an Uber or a Lyft joke here, but I'm just not finding it. But whatever the case is, that was a blast. And just give me more reasons to play Valera, I guess is what I'm asking you, Kyle.
They could do it with the Morales, where she has kind of the bodysuit, and then the mechanics are sitting on top of her, but replace it with like an LED screen and a phone in a hand. It could happen. It could be a skin.
Just give her a voice line asking for 5 stars, and also inquiring if you would like a cold bottle of water.
And talking throughout the entire shuttle bit.
I have mints. Yeah. So yeah, it's been interesting, but there's still quite a bit to get through. We've obviously, since the patch is out, we know what changes they made from the PTR to live. So let's get into this week's Heroes of the Storm news.
We're on, boys! Ha-ha! Let's liven up this place!
The moment is upon us.
Yes, I'd mana tap that.
All right, so the experience changes are live. The 2019 update is live, and we know what tweaks were made. So they've listened to our feedback, Kyle. They've weathered the Reddit storm, and what has changed is that experience is still gone from Fort and Keeps. You destroy a fort, you destroy a keep, you still get no experience. However, they now provide you and your team with a stacking 20% increase in passive experience.
It's important to note right here that we have been calling passive experience on this show trickle XP for a long time. And that was before we had the hover over the center of the screen experience breakdown, which you can get in any game live. Just go up to where it says level versus level and put your mouse over it for half a second, and a little box will appear saying how much XP has been gathered from mercs, lanes, hero kills, and then the totals at the bottom.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh yeah, it's there. We're about to learn a lot, Garrett. Yeah, this show is hearty with knowledge.
You're
and
blowing my mind here a little bit.
As we solve this new puzzle, we're all going to go on a bit of a journey, because the pros are still worried about freezing, but we have this whole new thing to interact with called passive XP. It goes in the background. This is why you randomly level when you're not killing a lane, when you're not in range of lane. This is what allows Heroes of the Storm to have really long fights in Cursed Hollow, where nobody goes, hang on, we're almost leveled, I gotta go to the lane and get that. We do that too to speed it along. But sometimes you just level in the middle of a fight, up in some boss pit. What happened? Well, this is what happened. It's always going in the background.
Yeah. And at this point, I feel like because of this change, I feel like we need an interface element informing us of what passive XP is currently at.
Yeah.
That we don't hover over.
I mean, how great of a training mode would it be to have like basically Guitar Hero? Like one corner of the screen and a little lane minion symbol appears. The XP's flying at you. Did you get it in time? Oh, you missed it. Poor boo, audience boos.
I don't want that at all. I just want an interface in the game itself to inform me of passive XP disparity.
It's there. You got to hover for it.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
I don't want that. It seems very important now.
It is very important.
Yeah. In other things that happened that we knew were going to happen and didn't change are the towers that have half of their experience removed from them. Passive experience gain increased by 15% across the board. And wait, no, that was... Never mind. I almost said the mercenary thing. This isn't the case anymore.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's important to note that the fort keep thing doesn't apply to Towers of Doom, because Towers of Doom has respawning forts and keeps, and that would get ridiculous. There's also no catapults that spawn. In addition to this, of course, the periodic catapults are here, and there are scaling changes in the background.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's I don't know. I think you're getting the point from me that I feel it's a little too obscured now. That I like this change. I'm glad that they didn't just... I'm still glad that taking down a fort, taking down a keep affects your experience in some way. But now that it does affect your XP, it feels obfuscated.
Interesting. Tell me more.
No, it's just what I was talking about, why I want some type of interface informing me of where passive XP currently is, because that is now the carrot on the stick, besides catapults, for taking down forts and keeps. That is now a major part of how we level up. And the game isn't telling you, it isn't showing you in a meaningful way of where you stand.
That's fair. In fact, I had a guy in one of my games this week, ranked game, placement day, Hero League. LOL, Battlefield's broken. No, it's not. What's up? Catapults. Those are normal, dude. What is the response? And well, he didn't read the patch notes, as Cloakin says. Let's get really deep into this.
Yeah.
And we're gonna go really heady, really big on XP today, because it's simply something we don't talk about much. We want to encourage the fun. We want to keep you guys up to date. But there are new systems in place here with the passive XP that may change the way you play and could very much change the heroes you choose to take. It did for me, and that's why I think day 2 and here in Team League we did a lot better. First of all, to put it simply, what they've done is taken the XP from the forts and given it to you staggered. So when you go and take a fort, you don't just burst up in levels. It happens over time.
Yes, because again, it's affecting passive XP.
So forts and keeps, removed all experience from the forts. This was the 1,200 XP from a fort, 2,050 from a keep. This was always static. We talked about in the past that this was banked XP. What would happen is you'd be behind, you're 2 levels behind, but you win that team fight. That got you some XP. And then you surge forward and you take all the buildings and now you have a lead. They had destroyed your buildings earlier, so they can't get that lead back. You used your banked XP to jump back into the game. All this XP work and passive is to keep the levels closer together through that trickle, through that passive XP. The towers were worth 250, now they're worth 125, half. Keep towers are worth even more, 800 to 400. Let's put this in a little bit of perspective. So a keep tower is worth 400 XP. The base experience you get from a minion wave at level 1, those scale, the minion waves, is 250 or 452. A kill is worth 296. This is why people yell, stop getting kills, focus on soak. That's not what we're talking about today, though. I want to make that very clear. This is not a show about how you need to soak all the time. There's a very different strategy going on, still very important.
Okay, gotcha. So
the total XP that we have lost in the entire fort area is 1,450. That's how much you got immediately when you ran in there as a full 5-man after the objective and just grabbed up every building alongside a Punisher. The experience you need to level, let's say from 5 to 6, 6 to 7, is 3,303. You could see how that could jump you up a level. You get about half of that in one of these moves. So now that is delayed. It's going to come at you with time. So the passive experience was increased. And whenever you destroy one of these forts and keeps, you get 20% more passive XP. The way you want to think about this is perhaps like you would in an old RPG. Or modern XCOM games have them. Very rarely are these talents and feats in multiplayer. But I remember KOTOR, classic Knights of the Old Republic, there was a feat. Select this feat and you will get more health per level. And every time you level after this selection of this feat, you'll get more health. So if you took it early, it's better. There's feats in XCOM. Select this and this guy will now get more XP. Well, the earlier you take that, the more XP he's going to have every time he gets XP. So the encouragement to take the early forts is now in this passive. You destroy it, you will now gain 20% more passive XP, and that is more than the enemy team could ever possibly have over the course of a game because you took that building earlier than they did.
In a perfect world where they don't retaliate or take extra mercs or adjust in some way.
Your passive would still be higher, but yes, it does that's where strategy comes in. That's where it's still an interesting game.
Yes.
If at level 1, all 5 of you with Sergeant Hammer, and let's do the old strategy, right? Sergeant Hammer, Zarya, and Morales all just plow down one building. You just invested 3 people in that strat alone. How many lanes of XP did you miss because Val and Sylvanas are farting around with it? All right. So you missed 2 lanes of XP and you got all that. Probably not worth it, but you made a strategy call, and hopefully the other team doesn't freak out in range of it and die a bunch, and they get a huge lead.
Right. Right. So that's what's interesting about this right now. This is where my head's been at. So, like, you know, blue team takes a fort. They're now ahead in passive XP. Red team evens up the fort count. They're still behind if they don't do anything else, because blue team already got ahead on the passive experience sooner. Red team, even though they've evened up that 20% stack of passive experience, they're still behind if they're not doing anything else. You know, they're not getting kills, they're not taking mercs, etc. So now you need, but that's why it's interesting in my mind, because now there's that. If you understand this, there's that desire now to go win a fight or go win a merc camp or go get some towers down to get more ahead, or to again, winning the fight opens the field to let you take another fort and now get ahead in stacking XP or passive XP.
Correct. So this is where the protection against freezing is coming in. This is Blizzard's strategy. So if you go and take the top lane, all the fort buildings, and you now have this passive XP to back you up, you're going to push everything with those periodic catapults onto their half of the map. You may not be able to safely soak that anymore. This is to help you recover from those lanes you are going to miss out on. And let's say you just surge forward. Game is amazing. Nobody plays, maybe. You take every building on the enemy side. Your passive XP is now equal to 1 minion wave every 9 seconds. And that's a base minion wave. Those are scaling. That is interesting. It's something that we're going to struggle to interact with and understand a lot of the time. But know that when you take that lane and you miss out on 1 minion wave, this is your ability to recover from that. You have increased your passive XP so you can miss out on that if it's taken from you.
Hadn't really considered that. I was thinking of it as counterplay and whatnot. So let's stop getting technical for a second and talk about the feel. Because to me, after playing my games this week, this change seems like it has made being behind more interesting, more fun, and leaving a significant amount of room for comeback.
I agree.
On the flip side, it feels like it has made winning stressful across the board.
It's very active.
That's you can spin my words, but I have needed anxiety medication after every winning game this week.
And I personally like that. If we're talking, personal experiences and all that, and we'll certainly talk about those more later on. I think this is really healthy. And the reason why is because you still get that fort in time. The danger might be that you get more than that fort in time. So a fort, an old fort, worth 1,200 XP. When you destroy that fort, the increase in passive XP, you will gain that fort worth of passive XP over 5 minutes, 15 seconds. Maybe this isn't the best way to display it. Maybe if the bar was filling at the top and then there was like a boosted, poof, and like for that next that 5 minutes, you could really feel it's shaking. Oh my God, look at that XP. It's really throbbing around, and it's going, and bam! And it hits that amount, and then it's over. But you felt it along the way that you had succeeded and gotten that XP. The thing I like about it, though, is that you're not surging, because that's the problem. That's the sad part, is Garden of Terror, Alterac Pass, when those 3-lane objectives come alive and push down 3 keeps at once, and they shoot up 4 levels, game's over. Yes, there's probably a good chance that the game should be over. But when it comes to forts, they shouldn't shoot up 3 levels. I'd rather have a comeback moment. They're shooting up 3 levels faster, but it's not going to be 3 levels at once. They're not invincible.
Yeah, and I think that the example you're giving is, in my mind, that's what they were looking at internally on the Heroes team. They were seeing that. They were seeing the statistics going, we need to do something about this for the games at home, while also trying to do something about freezing in pro games.
And this works even better when we get to keeps, because for you to get all the XP back from a keep kill, it's going to take 10 minutes, 20 seconds. There is very few games where you're going to take a keep and then have 10 minutes of gameplay left. Yeah, there's games where you get in there in 8 minutes, Sylvanas, whatever you did, got in there. Now the next 10 minutes, whew, you're going to be, you're riding that. But that's not a 3-level lead that you then take the core with suddenly.
No, all good points. It's just to me, it's strange from a feeling aspect of being more stressed when I'm winning than when I'm losing.
Yes. And I think that the community is butting heads with that when we don't talk about the pros, because that is true. And I wonder how many people might be playing the wrong game in some ways. If you get in there and someone you don't know scores 5 Valera kills on Lazy Vala, and you're 2 levels up in the old system, well, are you playing? You're probably having fun because you're invincible, but you're not making strategic decisions. Being locked out of the map this week, to me, felt very active. That I can't go get that XP anymore. It's been pushed out by a catapult. We got to make something happen. We got to invade their mercenaries. We got to get on their half. We need to set up a gank. We now have map control. That's what we call it. When you're locked out and the enemy's freezing, we also call that map control. Let's spin that phrase on its head. Oh, we're frozen out of XP. Map control, damn it. You own it. You own all the towers of sight. You own all the merc camps. Now we actually get to something during that time. It feels very active on the attacking edge.
And so do you think this is where the suggestions for shorter mercenary timers, that's where we're getting to the core of that? I mean, we saw it from Chaos OS in his Math of the Storm post, but I've also seen it thrown around a lot this week.
Yeah, and that's something that, because the pro players are able to accomplish so much, they don't lose 20 seconds as Tyrande helps someone, Sonya, we saw that this week. Sonya help, Sonya's clearing the lane, but Tyrande, I'm coming to help. And you're like, what I don't need help. The pros aren't having that argument. They have 2 free bodies to go do other things.
Oh, you're referencing
and that could be an activity.
Had to think about that for a second. I'm like, I didn't play any games with you, but I did. We randomly ended up in a team league game together.
That was fun. We won that one, too.
We did. But again, stressful as hell. But more the Tyrande's fault than the game for that one. Yeah, sorry. Derailed there a bit. But yeah, I think that's part of where we're seeing that come from. And I'm with you. You bring up a good point. I think I've used the word map control in talking to my teammates more than anything else, whether we need it or we have it. In the past week, like more than I think I ever have. It just seems extremely important.
It's really a big deal to say that passive experience was what allowed us to take 2 temples on Sky Temple and not fall behind. Because otherwise, you'd be a level down sitting in there. Yeah, the lasers would eventually build and get you XP in the previous system, but this passive XP is what kept up along that way while they pushed out the lanes and tried to get to you. So the system works in that way. Oh, let's talk about Catapult. And by the way, I know we're doing a lot of back and forth today. This is a lot of numbers for everyone out there. I love that Garrett's having personal experiences with this because it's what we know. Like, I can yell numbers at you all day, but the feeling is really important.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been trying to wrap my brain around this week is, how does this feel? But yeah, let's talk about catapults. So periodic catapults still in the game from PTR. They weren't in the live game previously, but we've been talking about them for 2 months. So periodic catapults have made the leap out of PTR in the live game. You're going to get a catapult every third minion wave when you destroy a fort, or there's going to be one coming down the lane at you if your fort gets destroyed. They're not that great.
No.
They're weak. They're pathetic. They don't even give extra XP.
They do not. They spawn on the third minion wave when you take them. So it's a full 90 seconds, depending on minion waves, until you'll get your first catapult.
Yes, which granted, still way earlier in the game than we used to previously see catapults.
Sure.
But yeah, not very impactful. That's a lifetime in Heroes of the Storm time.
The catapults have been scaled more because they'll be arriving earlier in the game, and they want them to be weak if they're taken super early. But they've also been overall just nerfed. They went from range 13 to 11, and their splash radius is down from 1.5 to 1. This is basically a third of their lane clear gone. They used to, if they targeted smartly with their little AIs, hit 3 units. Now they hit 2 units, and that means there's a lot less clear with them.
Yep. It's another reason.
When they come out, half the HP, that's 1,100 to 550.
Yeah, so previously it was 1,100, now it's 550, but previously they didn't come out with forts.
Right. Pretty unlikely you were going to face one of these when 1,100 worth of health was something you couldn't take down.
Yep. Now, what has increased is their everything past 30 minutes. So their 30-minute HP is now higher than it was previously, and the 30-minute damage is also now higher than it was previously, although pretty minor upscaling there.
Right, so when you hit 20 minutes in the game, catapults are exactly what they previously were at 20 minutes. And from beyond there, catapults are actually stronger if you remove the fact that they have decreased range and decreased splash. So overall, catapults aren't as strong as they once were.
Correct. So keep that in mind. But again, it seems to be playing towards this goal of having the player, the team agency count for more in a game of Heroes.
You do have to make some choices, and this is a big enough threat and an obvious enough threat. So speaking in support of this, catapults with their little hydrogen Dr. Manhattan circles, they're on the mini-maps. They look a little different. They're super kind of minions. When you see 2 of those stacked up, as we've always talked, 3 stack up, it's pretty dangerous. It's going to take a building in with it and whatnot. That needs addressing. What was really kind of hard to navigate with players was the concave. Like, you have to almost have played StarCraft to really care about concave convex. Or maybe you played enough Civilizations to know what it's like to be surrounded. When you see an enemy, when you see a wave up top, and there is like 2 warriors with it, but 10 archers, oh my God, that's going to get a fort. But when it's, 2 archers and 10 straight, night minions, it doesn't really matter. Now the catapults are making that lane clear that it has to be controlled. It has to be cleared out. And that could increase readability.
Yeah. No, it's all good points. But overall, I don't know. I think it feels okay. I don't know. I think it's fine later. I think it's fine later for the catapults to not be as strong as they previously were, because they're still, like you said, they're still a threat if left unchecked. You still have to deal with them. They're just slightly less punishing than they used to be. I'm down with that. Where I'm waffling and I can't decide is early game catapults, because right now it feels like just let them do their thing. They'll die eventually. It's irrelevant. It's not affecting my gameplay unless I'm on Sylvanas and I also have my own catapult going down the same lane, so I can get a double stack catapult by possessing theirs.
True. But it's also, you've also been benefited by the increased passive experience. Their passive experience is 23. Yours is 27.6 now. And that's going to add up per second. It really does, as ridiculous as these sort of numbers can be. The catapults are bonuses. And this is one of the things that's going to keep the enemy in it. It feeds them the XP they need in order to make their recovery while you have map control but are locked out of XP. So it's a balancing act.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just where I'm trying to decide on because the question is, well, do you really want early game catapults to be powerful? And I don't necessarily think so.
And that's a perspective issue we have because we've been playing this game for so long that when catapults roll out, oh my God, the game is ending. Someone's got to deal with those. And over the course of 20 minutes, you're a busy person. You're leveling up. You're getting talents. You got your heroic. And now all of a sudden catapults are worth something. I can see that being disappointing. Certainly if you get that early fort, I've seen a lot of people be like, these catapults are useless. What are they even doing in here?
It's okay. You took a fort down. Like, this is where I start to defend this change, because I'm with you for feels like years now. You've been like, access to the core is a reward in its own. Why do you also need XP and catapults? Like, do you have to have that? And I'm with you for the most part. I wouldn't say remove catapults entirely, but I'm on the same page. And that's where if I look at these changes through that lens, they look really good.
And let me add another lens to a popular argument right now. Every game is coming down to a 20-20 fight. Just one big fight and then it's over. Well, if you have your keep walls and your keeps, boy, if you have your forts and your keeps, you get to lose a fight. You really do. You could have a bad fight, come back. They won't get all the way to your core in that time.
Are you saying that having 3 keeps and walls is a poor man's Resurgence of the Storm?
Yes, it very much is. I have done that many times in my shot calling, been like, we have a get out of jail free card. Let's see if we can win right now. Because if we mess up, they got to walk all the way from their core through all our buildings, all the way into our core. We'll be up by then, even if it's 55 seconds.
That's a good way to think of it, as a resource. That is a resurrect. You have the time for a resurrect.
That is the advantage you built over that enemy team over the course of the game. It's not the God mode you had. And I hear a lot of people romanticizing other MOBAs. Well, when there was one God on each team, sometimes that God decided to be right damn silly and go 1v5 and die. You know how Genji jumps into Brightwing sometimes and dies? That's what would happen to your one carry in Dota, in League of Legends. They chose to go in 1v5 because they thought they were fed and invincible. They do that 3 times in a row and you lost the game. It's very strange to hear people so adamant that other systems worked better, that shared XP could be such a burden compared to the way it used to be.
I mean, you want me to just get cranky right here, right?
It's an invite if you want to take it, but it's not a push.
I mean, the crank is like, just go play those games. They exist. I get this reaction all the time when I complain about what other card games do better than Hearthstone. And I'm like, well, just go play them. I'm like, oh, no, I want to play Hearthstone. The thing is, I think those core systems are core to what Heroes is, how it feels. I'm out tomorrow if Last Hitting comes to this game.
I hear that a lot from people, and that's not why I change games, but it's fascinating that that's something. And if I would have stayed with Dota, it's not something I did at the time, because when Heroes of the Storm came out, Dota had like its first international that I knew of, and nobody ever quoted an esports build at me. It never happened. There's a thing called a Battle Fury. Do you remember in Warcraft 3 you would get a fire orb so your damage splashed? That's the first thing I'd buy so I wouldn't have to last hit. So I would just cleave the whole lane in big dumb hits. So a good chance I got last hit, because I didn't want to deal with that.
Yeah,
I didn't take the game as seriously at that time, of course.
It's just so unappealing to me. It is so unintuitive. That. I cannot stand it. I played a good amount of Dota 2. I enjoyed it, but that was one of the major things that kept it from becoming a main game for me. Because it just seemed like bad game design. But anyways, Mercenaries, everything's the same from PTR. They increased the experience gained by taking Mercenaries by 100%. But they removed defeating lane Mercenaries and getting XP from that.
So mercenary experience is not static. The lane minions, XP increases every 2 waves. Mercenaries increase incrementally. None of this is very pretty. You can go to my Twitter right now and see what I tweeted, which is the algorithm that is what makes the amount of XP you need per level go. It has sign in it. It has multiplications and many brackets. These things are not easy to talk about. What we can say is that minions or mercenary camps, the siege camp went from roughly a third of a lane clear to 2/3 of a lane clear, to put that in perspective. That base minion wave, that's what we keep in mind. That's always that 452. 452 is a minion wave. It scales. Every third wave's a little bigger. The third wave of minion waves is 463. These things get really complicated and really out of touch, but bruiser cams are now worth a full minion wave. So that's a pretty big deal. If someone goes off and does that, you just found yourself the fourth lane.
Cool. And I think it's okay if it's not pretty and easy to understand, right? Because like unless you're in a perfect world where you have all of the choice on when to take your mercenary camp, it's kind of irrelevant. Like if you have the opening, you take it. If it's the right time to take it, you take it. You're not, oh, let's wait another 2 minutes before it's worth more.
Right. And I think we enter in home territories unfun in that way. Leave that to the pros if they want to time those things out.
Right. And it's totally fine. I like that it's there if you get to that level. But in a pickup game, it's very unlikely that you're going to have that kind of freedom to make that call. I mean, it's the same thing with minion waves. Like, how relevant is it that you know the scaling of minion waves? They are coming at their own speed. You're going to lose it anyway. You can either soak it or you can't.
Something you can take from this, though, is that if minion waves improve every 2 waves, the third wave is worth more than the first 2. So if you want to be a real stickler, a Debbie Downer, or just a really sly guy, you can yell at your team that you got to get up there for that third minion wave because it's technically worth more than the last 2. A hero kill is worth 296 XP. But there's no way we can change people's minds about that. It is worth half of what a wave is worth. Almost. It gets ridiculous, but it's hard to give that perspective.
That I could see, and I think I would like to see change. The XP off of hero kills.
So you want to see it increased?
Yes.
Okay. That is a big conversation this week and worth having.
Yeah. Yeah. To me, I don't think about this game as how it affects pro players. So just put that up front. But
Sure.
what bums me out is being up many kills and being like half a level ahead.
Okay. And that's fair. The amount of XP it takes per level to get to the next level is always shifting beyond level 15. That is why when the games finally come together and you're 20 and they're 20, but you're up 40 kills and they only have 10, that's why the 2 XPs are very similar, because the amount of XP to get to 21 gets really, really big. Your bar might be filling multiple levels if you were in lower level games. So what I don't want to do is say button pro games, Garrett, but I'm going to say it. Button pro games, Garrett, if they knew that their kills, their deaths were worth more XP, they would just hide behind the walls the entire time and not do anything. But we learned that same lesson at home.
But what if you're 2 forts down? You can't.
Well, then you freeze the lanes and it comes to you, right? That's where they can reliably do that now. So in our home games, though, I have found the system to work quite well because the team gets ahead through hero kills. You got the buildings. Yes, you're going to lose some XP because you're going to leak it onto the enemy side where you don't have control anymore, and it's too dangerous to overextend into. But passive XP, make sure you stay equal with that enemy. You get an objective, you're going to get another building, but you are gaining map control, but losing, again, minion XP. passive experience right now is keeping you equal. The way you actually get ahead, and ridiculously ahead, is great rotations to get kills. Hero kills actually really matter a lot in this system, though they're not weighted to. Hero kills are how you're actually going to get ahead.
I'm with you there because I think it's one of the big comeback mechanics right now, because we're not seeing as great divides in levels. There's always the chance to get a kill. Also, now talent level disparities are more important than they used to be, but they're also shorter. That window to get to execute on having a talent tier advantage is now smaller and shorter than it's ever been before. In most games, in most scenarios across the board. Obviously, you may still find yourself in a 3-level lead scenario. It's just a lot more rare.
And it's oppressive. And it always has been for a very long time. 3 levels is goddamn for the enemy team. I've had those games on both sides this week, and we got there by constantly ganking lanes and getting tons of hero kills, so much that they couldn't soak in the early game, and we dominated into the late game. There is still the opportunity to snowball. What this has done for me is stopped the 3-level leads when they're pushing alongside a Punisher at my wall. It's a 1-level lead. It's max, because we've been doing real rough, a 2-level lead that equals a pretty tough defense. But we could still get a pick. We could still get that pick and make it back in and see if we can actually have a game to go. But as I mentioned, the gates now, that wall's down at the keep. They have the opportunity to win. We got to win 3 fights in a row to do that. The amount of mistakes the enemy team has to make over and over again for us to get back in there, the fights we have to win, maybe with sweet level 20 talents, has to be repeated. And it's tough going. But you're right. It's tough going on the winning side too. You have to continue to execute well. You don't have the leads you used to. And I do think that that's going to butt heads with what a lot of people want to imagine, which is godhood. And we know that when Dustin Browder and the whole team from StarCraft sat down to make this game originally, huge amount of pushback, because people said people aren't going to play a game where you can't be that amazing. Nobody wants to play a game where you have to work that hard. People want to maybe bust their buns for 15 minutes, but then have enough gold to dominate.
I have no follow-up.
It's still very early. As you all know, I am a person that immediately embraces the change, is going to ride with it as hard as I can. There are decisions to make here. There are holes in the system. There are things we're going to learn that are going to make me dislike this. But for now, I'm going to gather as much information as I can and get behind it so that I can continue to play the game I'm enjoying. And I am enjoying this right now. I think it's pretty fresh.
So positive coming out of the first 3 days with this update.
Yes.
I need more time. But my gut reaction is I want to play the game more than I have in a long time.
Okay.
Like I've got a major WoW patch and a Hearthstone expansion breathing down my neck. I'm enjoying both of those as well. But I'm feeling very drawn to this game because I feel like it's easier to stand on the shoulders of geniuses in Hearthstone and catch up. And in Heroes, I feel like there's only so much you can do from reading, from listening to stuff like this. At a certain point, you just have to log games. And that's true of Hearthstone as well. But for me, I feel I just have to play the game. And that's where I'm at right now. It's like this change has hit. And even though, as I mentioned, I'm sweating bullets when I'm winning, I just want to play another game. I just want to have another experience. I just want to learn a little bit more about this new system.
And a lot of that might have to do with, I know you play a lot of quick match, and quick match is a pretty decent place to get a well-formed game.
No. I played like 5 games this week, and that was the most quick match I've played in 6 months.
Yeah.
I would have played a lot more if Sylvanas queues were shorter, but
sure.
Yeah. No, quick match, I'm not a fan. I'm still not a fan.
Queues are where that's where I butt heads right now with this game, because I did 2 7-hour streams And for those 7-hour streams, I played the video game for 3.5 hours. That's a lot of queue.
Your team league queues have been bad?
My team league queues go up to 400. And that's not horrible compared to the 800, 900, 1,000 that I see for Hero League.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. So I played all my team league with a friend this week, and they were almost instant. I'm curious if there's more. Now you're making me wonder if there's more disparate team ups in team league, so you get a faster queue than if you just solo queue.
I think so, but because if you are platinum and silver teaming up as a 2, you're going to go into gold, and that's where the bell curve is. That's where the most players are. I'm on the edge of diamond, platinum, and solo. I think they might have a trouble. I've also been playing that team league with 5 stacks for 3 years.
That's not
every weekend.
It's not necessarily what I'm seeing, though. I'm seeing on the opposing team, people who are placed anyway. Right now, it's a total crapshoot if you're even going to know where they are. But before the jump, and now the few people I am seeing that are placed, I'm seeing like an equal distribution. So if there's a Masters Diamond, Gold, Silver player, you're going to see the same thing on the other side of the team. It's not like I'm going up against like an all gold team because I'm hanging out with my Masters friend. It's impressive, but also I hadn't really noticed or considered this. It's an interesting thing to think about with the team league queue, that maybe there's a majority of wide disparity friends queuing up together to play in team league together.
Yeah, and I don't have good answers. Like I said, that stat doesn't hold for the team league day. I got that done in an hour shorter. But Hero League day, I did sit in this very chair for 3 hours. That wasn't playing a video game or doing a draft or so. And that's pretty damn nuts. And we did it to ourselves. We asked them to make these systems that make us wait longer and to get us in. So I can't fault Blizzard that they're, doing it. We begged. We pleaded. We also pleaded that placements weren't going to be as crazy, that you wouldn't, go entire leagues up and down. And I've seen a lot of disappointment. Oh, back right where I started. But we asked for this. We all did.
Do you think, to me, too, I think it's, it's possible that it's December, it's the holidays.
I stream and I play in the damn middle of the day. That's my fault.
That too. But what I was getting at is that maybe only the diest of the diehard are left.
Sure.
I guess it would be the hardest of the diehard. I don't know. Whatever the case is. The McLeanest of the diehard are left. That's all that's left. Everyone else who's a casual Heroes enjoyer are probably playing other games or traveling or getting work done out of the way so they can enjoy the holidays. That's another thing to consider. At the same time, while changes are coming, at the same time, while Reddit is on fire and everyone is telling other people who are not 100% up on the game that the game is terrible and sucks, because that's what I'm hearing from friends who are like, "Hey, what's going on with Heroes? I hear it's the worst game ever." And I'm like, "No, it's not. What? Who's telling you?" Oh, I checked the Reddit the other day. I'm like, "Oh God." So like that all has an effect, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And we didn't get the big team league change or MMR change, which makes people wonder, where would I place? I'll come back. It's the same as it was. People know they're going to play similar to what they were. It doesn't have that excitement around it it's had most Decembers.
Get excited to learn, everybody. Learning is fun in this game. It's not fun when it comes to a subject you're terrible at, like math for me. But Heroes of the Storm is very fun to learn. And then you're ready. You're ready. When they flip the switch on the new league system, you're ready. You already understand the game. You're going to do great. What's going to happen is no one's going to learn the game. They're going to flip the switch. A bunch of new people are going to come back. They're going to play wrong. They're still going to play slow.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm looking at my crystal ball right now, and that's what I'm seeing.
Well, and I was really excited to try out these changes. Like something I did, I picked a lot of Zagara day one because I was curious. She's got lane clear. She's got siege. I'm making a distinction there. Lane clear is clearing a lane fast. Siege is when you lock onto the building, how fast you can take it down. We often call both siege because it's siege damage. There's a distinction.
Well, she's got both.
Didn't go so well.
My Zagara games have not gone well either. But
there's talk she's OP, but I didn't feel it.
I didn't feel it either. But here's a weird thing that happened to me. I lost 2 games in a row to the same Gazlo. Nothing. It felt so punishing. And I think a lot of it has to do with the draft. When I tried Zagara games this week, every time I went up against a team that just deathballed and murdered people, I couldn't get anything done. And my team never reported to my lane to help me with the 4 people that just showed up to kick the door in. Zagara can't do shit about that. No one hero can do a damn thing about that. And vice versa, in those games against Gazlo, we were not grouping to go kill him. And he was just pushing to his heart's content, and the team got ahead significantly. This was probably the biggest divide in XP I've seen all week, were these 2 games against the same Gazlo player.
You can still get those leads. They're in there. And what I did find out, and for the first time ever, as my chat said, my rank screen looks like a birthday cake because I've got Artanis on both sides.
A birthday
for
cake?
most wins.
Why does he look like a birthday cake?
Because he's Master Skins, and he's like in this crazy purple swishy outfit with these big crystals sticking everywhere. It looks like Candle Central. It's madness.
Oh, okay. He's wearing cupcake armor.
Yeah. But
nice.
yeah, he looks like a paladin BC.
Good to know. But yeah, I think it's draft dependent, which I think is interesting, and I think is good for the game.
I think if you're interested in getting in right now, I would definitely go with characters that you need to always be aware of your lane clear, because you don't want to be locked out of the map and not able to do something fast enough. Lots of people willing to play mages and deal with that thing. I would really encourage you to do things like Vala, Artanis, siege characters, guys who can get a quick kill, whether through a swap or just straight up damage like a Vala. But if you're able to lock onto a building, that opportunity is going to afford you so much. Like we talked about with KOTOR earlier, getting a fort as early as possible means you have greater XP over the total game. And I found with Artanis, I could do that over and over again. It was really delightful.
Yeah. So it's strange. On the other end of this, taking forts and keeps is still important. It's still arguably the most important.
Yeah.
Granted, they made a pretty major change to what we saw in the PTR. But
I like it. I like the spike is gone. I love the passive. It's such a new world. It's a system. You didn't even know you could hover over that thing. I've known about it, but I never use it because it's not interesting. It hasn't told me anything.
I also think it's bad design, and it should be more obvious.
Yes,
but
we can agree with that.
But also keep in the back of your mind that this change was made within a week. Within a week, last Tuesday, this hit the PTR, and bunch of negative feedback. Like, all right, we hear you. We're going to do something about it. Come this week, bam, suddenly destroying forts and keeps gives you passive experience. This was not something they were planning to do, so I wouldn't expect it to have a UI element yet. But I do expect to see it down the road, because now it is a huge part of the game. It's a huge part of it needs to be there for like the gamification and the understanding, I think, of playing a match of heroes.
And we got another resource, and it's still experience, but it comes from a different place. And it's not just mercenaries. It's not a banked XP thing. It's a trickle. And that's really fascinating. When we talk about bring back ammo on the towers, it's because we want another resource to argue against. It's here. It's really, really smart. They had this in their back pocket. They did not come up with this in a week. Someone's been pushing this for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know for sure, but it feels that way. This feels planned out. And when I saw it, like it was like Christmas morning. I woke up Tuesday. I'm like, what did they change? You know, cracked open the notes, looked at it. I'm like, huh. I hadn't considered that because I never think about passive XP.
No.
Have you ever thought about passive XP?
No.
Okay.
Why would I? It sounds boring. It is boring. People say it's bad for the game, but it just happens.
Well, now they've made it it's now an objective. Like, there's a way to affect it and to manipulate it, and I think that's good. Now let's just make that clear to me. Just XP coming up as a font out of the fort is not enough. No. It's not visual enough. But I'll get off of that horse now. Any final thoughts on these changes before we move on?
No, that's it.
Cool, man. Good talk. I was worried about this today.
It's a big conversation, and we want to hear from you all. Certainly send emails over to itncast@gmail.com. Message in our Discord patrons. We want to hear from you and your experience with these. There's a lot of experience to have, but play the game. See it for yourself.
Yep. Unit radius change is live. There was an undocumented Volskaya Foundry change back on November 19th that they just decided to inform us of. This is that channeling to enter the Triglav Protector is no longer interrupted by damage. This apparently was in reaction to Orphea's Eternal Feast, causing some serious issues, but it also brought to light the fact that teams could win this objective but be locked out of using it in certain situations.
Eternal Feast, Triglav counts as a hero. It casts forever. It destroyed the Triglav. No one could get inside. Now you can get inside under fire.
Yep. Stitches. Saw some nerfs from PTR.
Yeah, a number of his main talents that they were suspecting. And Slam in general got a nerf buff.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, a nerf buff. So the cast time was increased by roughly 25%. We're dealing with very small numbers. It was a quarter of a second. Now it's like 0.313. But yeah, the cooldown was also increased by a second. But the range was increased by 8 to 9.5. I'm very much feeling that in the live game compared to when I was testing him on the PTR. And it costs 5 more mana to cast.
Stitches is getting a lot of bans in my league. Right now, his win rate is down 2%. He's in 47%. Actually, to be perfectly honest, we have no idea what we're banning. I've seen games where people have been like, get rid of Merker, Sonya, Greymane, all of it, I must go. Orphea's at like 68% win rate and 58% win rate, moving around like a lot since Tuesday. She's a force.
She's getting through the bans, and I don't think she should be. There's some godlike Orphea players out there.
Yeah, and I found Diablo's a great way to control her and got a lot of wins out of it, but what's the chances that Diablo's going to make it through? Nobody's sure on Asmodan. I still have a bit of an issue with Asmodan because it's such a burden on the supports. Like, when someone gets Asmodan, we ban it not because it's amazing, because of lane push, because Bear's going to do too much. It does too much damage. But really, it's because they might accidentally pick the wrong type of support to remove that damage type.
I hear that. Yeah, I still really like the Stitches changes coming back to him. But it kind of just seems like he dies right now.
My experience has been that they all take the 5% Giant Killer talent at 4. And then when the enemy tank gets their level 10, they don't stop targeting the tank.
I haven't seen a Stitches survive long enough to really take note of that.
Fair.
But that's we'll see. I think we're still learning to tank as Stitches. The armor changes went live. I love these visuals, dude. They're great.
Yeah, solid.
Yep. Garrosh, because his armor is passive, has stackable armor. This is the same with Cassia, so just keep that in the back of your mind.
Yes, so you will see Garrosh receive Morales armor. It's passive on him. He can go up to 70. You know, it's going to happen.
To me, right now, Garrosh is public enemy number 1. He's causing problems for me at the moment.
He's fascinating because he's an early game advantage in a game that looks like it might be forcing everything to a level 20 fight. With the advantage of the buildings I'm talking about in the background, right? Like, you get more than one fight if you're ahead. But it's interesting.
If it's a big enough advantage that leads to you getting a keep first, I still think it's worth a ton.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned Phoenix's changes last week. Did anything change from PTR?
Nope, everything's the same here. Purification Salvo, getting that damage reduction, and a couple of his talents combined together.
I haven't seen a single Phoenix in a game this week.
I've seen them. He's a solid.
I've also been playing with Doribo, so I've seen a lot of Hanzo.
Oh, so there you go.
Yep. We haven't even had a chance to talk about the fact that the holiday event is live. Time for Toys is here. There's a interactive like game board, which I was not expecting. There's an adorable illustration of a kid that talks to me constantly. Takes a little too long to get through his thoughts, though.
Like a child.
Reminds me of a certain fairy from a Zelda game.
When it comes to Christmas events, I don't ever want to wear those skins outside of Christmas. So I think this is an adorable way to just bypass Christmas while still having a Christmas event. Some people are really upset. I think it's adorable.
I think it's really good. I love the skins. My complaint is there's not enough of them. I want more action figure skins. Like, why don't we have a teddy bear butcher? Like, why does Stitches only teddy bear? I feel like that would be great on a butcher. That would be just wonderful.
Well, and even on the packaging, you got like Mephisto Bear there because he has the horns and the extra set of arms. And then imagine if he was ripped at the bottom and stuffing was pouring out. Like,
so wonderful. There's so much you can do with stuffed animals. There's so damn much. But I love the idea of action figures. It's great. Also, it gave us like this like Tim Burton emo Sylvanas freaking portrait that I just got today, and it's now going to be my portrait for the entire season because it's so good.
Yeah, there's a lot of cuteness to it. I enjoy it. And it's worth saying, by the way, there's been some confusion on the quests. The main quests are or statements. So you have complete 150,000 siege damage or get MVP siege, this and that in ranked, unranked, or quick match. That's an or statement. Only that second part you have to do in quick match, unranked, or ranked play. The first one can be done in AI. If you just want to bust these out, if you've forgotten, okay, that's a little salty, pardon me. If it's a competitive game, champs, you're going to lose sometimes. And it's just really weird to me to hear people being like, I have a chance to not complete the quest. This is unacceptable. And I'm like, well, you're playing the wrong game.
I like the quest design. I think it's solid. I don't know. I like the or statements.
Yeah, those can be completed in AI if you just want to get the poo rainbow emoji and get yourself out of there. What a bizarre thing. Sometimes I don't want to lose. That's when I don't play heroes, though. Like, sometimes you just get to the end of the day and you say, I cannot handle losing tonight, and I'm going to play X.
Yep. Yep, I have to go back and forth between Hearthstone and heroes. Like, do I want to lose? No? I guess I'm playing WoW.
Yeah, gonna go grind out, turn off war mode, go hide, and get some dailies done.
Yep. Oh, dude, freaking human warlocks got a new unstable affliction animation, and it is the coolest thing ever.
Oh, my paladin got updated too. I look amazing.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. All right, I like the Time for Toys events. Calm down, haters.
Come at me, bro.
Oh, God, I didn't even notice you put this in. Someone's complaining that it's been a year without an Overwatch hero. Nobody cares. Moving on.
Oh, snap.
Who gives a crap?
It's an interesting, in all honesty, this is such a charged episode, but it is an interesting note that after our pushback against Overwatch heroes, there has been a ceasefire.
Okay, I had pushback because I hate Hanzo and I think he's one of the worst heroes in the history of Blizzard Entertainment. But yeah, I think it's fine. I would be fine if they added one. The reason I am diving with this is like the Reddit has just been a bitch pile for a month now, and I'm like, did you run out of things to complain about, so you just went digging? Oh, here at the bottom of the barrel, how many? You know what? I'm gonna count. The numbers always get upvotes. How many years? Oh, it's been a year. It's been a year, guys. I found something new to complain about.
Why do you think they included the unit radii change now?
Why?
I'm not joking. Like, that is a really big change, and we're not talking about it much. If this came out in the middle of nothing, we'd all be sitting around being like, Blizzard hated Ana. Oh my God. Like, my Cassia kind of sucks. I played that with you yesterday. I'm embarrassed. We won, but I could not hit skill shots because everyone's a little less fat.
Didn't really notice. That's okay. I'm missing my lunar flares, dude. It's all right. Yeah. It's all right.
Sad. I saw Kael'thas with everything, or Kel'Thuzad, because he'd do the chains and Raynor would just walk out, and probably he'd have a toe in that still. He was a little slow. Didn't do it fast enough.
Yeah. I mean, we did gonna finally get a dev comment on that. I mean, they said that they were updating the art for the hero ring, and that kind of opened up the can of being like, oh, hey, we should probably tidy up all the radiuses, or the radii.
still, it's a fascinating change.
It's interesting. Yeah. So, people are still leaving Heroes, by the way, while we're talking about Reddit being on fire. It's like it's an oil-based fire, and we keep throwing water on it.
Now, I do think it's really important to say that the majority of the Reddit traffic, at least in the USA, happens during the workday when people are not playing the game. I think it'd be more bizarre if we saw the most amount of hate happen during the evenings, that those threads were the most active they ever were while people were in queue. But it's not. This is when people aren't playing. They're concerned. They want that information. And this is how they're choosing to express it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not even getting into that. It's just this is just facts. Like Psystorm, Deadly Kittens, they're gone. They're going off to Dota 2.
That's the scandalous part about it, is they're not disbanding, they're switching MOBAs.
Yeah. That happens in other games.
Yeah.
Trixler left HGC.
No longer casting.
This is a hard one for a lot of people.
He has been a staple, and much like a channel dedicated to anything in the world, it can be frightening when, what was it? True TV shows cartoons now or something ridiculous like that. Not like anyone watches True TV, but this happens all the time. Cartoon Network started doing live actions a while ago. And then they went back to like, cartoon. Oh, just kidding, everyone. Whoa, that was weird. Why did we do that? But it is shocking. Variety streaming can be really disjointing for a lot of viewers.
Well, I mean, to me, that's not necessarily part of this story. I mean, I think it, because I think it's easy if you've kept tabs on someone like Trixler. It seemed, you wanted to.
It's a natural progression.
Yes, yeah, but to me that conversation gets more into what's healthy for the creator, and less about the health or unhealth of HGC.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has struck me as a guy who has wanted to spread his wings for a while to me.
I think a lot of people do. And with queue times getting as long as they do for streamers, they play other games during queues now. I don't, but I only do 3-hour streams at a time unless I'm marathoning placements, because I want you to show up, and we're gonna talk about Heroes, which is on the screen. I do not hold it against anybody though who's sitting there for 8 hours a day and would like to take their 10 minutes to go get their WoW dailies done, because they're gonna get the hell away from their computer in the evening.
Yeah. No, I think that's fine. So the Trixler leaving for me it doesn't seem that surprising to me personally, but it does bum me out because I really do like him as a talent.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yep. And then there's some random drama, but it's irrelevant.
It's true. One of the actual statements we did get this week was from Kala, though. And
I saw
some weight to it.
Yeah, I did see that tweet. He said he heard from, I'm just going to quote his tweet here. He said, I heard from word of mouth at BlizzCon that HGC will be very real in 2019 and that it may receive greater funding. I also heard that it will be starting late, perhaps into February. So if that's true, that also would explain to a certain degree why we haven't heard anything yet. Again, with the obvious disclaimer of course, they should probably be telling pros and teams so that they can continue their business.
Yes.
That's just the accepted statement. I think no matter what you're fighting about, I think everyone agrees that the pros and the team should know what the hell is going on by now.
Should have some reassurance, something. There's also on Sky Temple, a disc was discovered on the ground in custom games. The kind of hexagonal disc that would have a team plate in it, or perhaps an advertiser.
Oh, it was like a spray with a year on it. I saw there was a blank hexagon border with a year on it.
Okay.
Unless I'm thinking of something different. It looked like it was a blank
we're
spray.
We're talking about the same thing.
Oh, maybe. I could be mistaken.
Yeah.
This has not been where my attention has been.
No, well, it's the home game, and this is the time of the year for the home game.
Yes. Into Nexus has always been, first and foremost, a show about playing the game, and not so much watching it. But Anyways, before we take a question or two and wrap this up, let's thank our patrons, Kyle, because they're supporting us over at patreon.com/ITN with their hard-earned dollars, and we very much appreciate it. If you like the show, if you like what we provide here, and you would like to support us, the Patreon is the best way to do that. Whether it's $1 an episode, $5 an episode, however much you would like to give, we very much appreciate it, and every little bit helps. On this episode, I want to thank some of our newer patrons. So thank you to Stephen J., Brian, no last name given, haven't had a no last name in a while, and George H. Thank you for the support, all three of you. And again, if you want to support the show, check out patreon.com/ITN. Now, let's crack open the mailbag.
Darkness stopped calling.
I hear the wilds call. Wait, nature calls.
Okay, tell them I'm not here.
You can send your emails to itncast@gmail.com, or if you're a patron, you can just jump right into the Patreon Discord, which if you have your Discord hooked up, you just automatically get in there. It's there. You can just go right in and drop a question in the question channel, and that's where Unpronounceable comes from. He dropped us a question in the Patreon Discord, and he says, something that gets mentioned about a number of about a number of heroes is how it's hard to mount a comeback with them. Butcher and Alarak are a couple I can think of offhand. Obviously, every hero will have a hard time coming back from behind, but who are some better heroes at this?
If I may take this in reverse, kind of like what he's doing. Things like Genji are really hard to come back with. Illidan's, things that are susceptible to CC. So if we flip that on its head, and right now, because of map control, I found the greatest comebacks have been had in a bush party, waiting for one guy to walk up and then blocking them down for the entirety of their life. Whether that's healthy or not is another conversation. But heavy CC, good stuns, and relocates can be really good.
You mentioned relocates. That's what I've been having issues with. That's why I'm mentioning Garrosh this week.
Yeah.
Been giving me help. Diablo's been banned out in every game except for, I think, 2 of mine this week. So not seen a lot of Diablo. Garrosh making it through, however.
Yeah, and this could leave some room for things like ETC to come back. If we have map control, you're able to keep using guitars to heal yourself back up. Your CC lasts a long time. There could be other things that, allow that to happen. Because the levels are closer now, I really would encourage comebacks through that really smart CC stacking. And if you are behind, don't yell at your team to soak properly, because that's just going to spread them out. Instead, try to get them into a bush.
Okay. By the way, I don't think it's necessarily bad. I mean, if the enemy isn't face-checking bushes, it wouldn't work.
No, yeah, of course.
It's
and if they have owls and things like that that's looking in your bushes, your problem's ruined.
Yep. Any heroes specifically? If you're thinking about it as a more personal take.
Like everything I did this week pointed to me to Artanis. It is so weird.
You're making a shot call with that swap. It's very obvious.
There's a shot call. There's objective burn. There's decent damage. There's a resetting 20 space laser. There's counterplay in the blind ability. And things like Zul'jin are really big right now because things are moving a little more chunkier, and that lock on, that siege damage from everybody. It's just, that's where so much of my head is right now. And I do think that allowing a pick is really good. And something, you listed here, Junkrat has that same ability. And like our next question, we can actually kind of combine with this. It comes from Lord Commander, and he says, how do you usually go about roster shopping? These are the puzzles this is what roster shopping is to me. It's a series of puzzles that I'm trying to focus in on certain heroes. And if you like specialists, but you realize you need relocation picks, you can kind of combo that into Junkrat. He's got the lane clear and the ability to make a call. You can also use that for escape, and you got a great 13 that allows you to get decreased cooldowns as you bounce around with increased speed over walls and whatnot. If you are on Braxis and you realize your Braxis win rate's really, really low, you think Genji just owns there, it's because he can go over walls all the time. He can transfer to the lanes really fast, but you don't like Genji. You're a casual player. You don't want to learn Genji. He's stupid. Maev's pretty cool, though, and she can do the same thing, and that's where this roster shopping kind of comes together.
Yeah, that's good. So is that how you do it? Do you just think that? Personally, I pull up win rates. I pull up my own win rates on Battlegrounds, and I start connecting the dots there. It's more of an inspiration thing. I don't just pick who's the highest winner in this Battleground, go. Because I'll see things like Genji, and I'll go, no, I hate that hero, and I don't like playing him.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine for us at home who are making that judgment call. And I am practicing a Genji. My big project last season, I usually have 2 heroes that I project each season. Last was Arthas and Deckard. Roots, basically. Worked on what do roots mean in my head along the way. This month, I'm kind of looking at something like Phoenix. I want to figure them out. I want to figure out Phoenix and Genji, so I have them. But I just set myself 4 months that I'm going to work on that. It's a big amount of time that I expect to spend actually mastering, figuring out what I'm going to do with that hero.
I hear that. Yeah, I mean that's what I do. It's personal with stats, I guess is how I do it. I pull up stats as a jumping off point just to get inspired, and then I kind of go from there. But
it's something that's better motivated through playing. If you do it in a vacuum before you sit down, you're going to come up with some really weird answers. Usually the process goes like this. Look at win rates for me. I did X really well last season. Let's spam that. Oh, I can't be tank, support, and DPS all at the same time. Maybe tank's where all the problems lie. Oh, no. My damage sucks. Maybe I'll be damaged. Oh, no. My support sucks. I need to be oh, no. It wasn't the supports at all. And then, and somewhere in there, a discovery has happened. And if the supports are great, and the tanks are great, and the damage is okay, I go bruiser. And if the damage is okay and the supports are, it's bruiser with regen. It's Leoric instead of something a bit more aggressive, like Greymane, right? So you put together all those pieces and you eventually end up what your impact is, and that's of course outside of climbing. That's maintaining. It's self-improvement. If you're in silver looking up and you're going, I want to go, there's a very different thing, and that's where we'll come back to unpronounceable. A lot of comeback characters are things that have those surprise moments that we talked about a lot before, like Jaina's roots, when she chills a target and then you get rooted suddenly in the late game. That's 1 second that someone didn't expect to be standing there.
And sometimes that's all it takes. Sometimes.
Oops on Lucio. They're really, really good. Isolate. That's why right now I don't want an Alex on my team, because Alex isn't going to enable a comeback. She's going to keep calling this space is the safe zone. Nope, that's a hazard zone now. She doesn't have a way to make a pick. She can't encourage that. Deckard's kind of got the Johanna problem happening right now for him. His win rate's slipping because he goes, what should we get? All of it. Somewhere in this triangle. Figure out what I wanted you to kill. And you're like, I guess we kill all of it. and Vala's like, is it Arthas? And she's firing at that. And Kael'thas is like, no, it's Orphea, but Orphea's dashing away.
Yeah. To me, Alex always felt like a win more hero.
Yeah.
It was just, I've always kind of looked at her like, I don't know, aside from Dragon, every 2 minutes scaring away, or it's even longer than that, isn't it? Whatever the case is, aside from Dragon scaring off team fights, I've always felt like we would have won anyway.
I think that's fair.
It's a little reductive, but to put it in card terminology, feels very win more to me. I would jump back to Lord Commander with a personal anecdote about roster shopping. Right now, I am working on my Vala because I've been enjoying AA, but I've been mostly playing Raynor. And like I mentioned last week, Vala just again hit me. I'm like, well, her damage is still good, and she has a shift. She can shift quickly via Vault. And I've been on Raynor multiple times now, thinking to myself, God, I wish he could move quicker. Who can? Vala. And that's another thing. You can transfer known skills.
Something that really matters a lot in card games and can be applied to heroes is that tier list idea. And Lord Commander brings it up in his question. what do you look at? Try out the best heroes in quick match. Do you get heroes and use them from tier lists when you go roster shopping? Tier lists are a great place to find value, and that's what you want to look out there. To use the card sort of analogy, 1 mana for a 2/2. Oh, it shines from the heavens, and everyone freaks out. There's a reason for that. And there are heroes that are going to have generally bigger impacts on the game. Finding that niche that you can do that in is really important, and that's where your personal skill is going to impact and what your personal preference is.
Yeah.
And what you're willing to give up to. Like, you might just not want to be Hammer. And it's top some dude's tier list, and you're sitting there like, I don't want to play Hammer.
I don't want to root myself on purpose.
Sure, just, move on. It's fine. But realize why that mana is giving a 2/2 and why you should probably draft it.
Somebody's been playing Magic.
And you make your conscious choice. Yes, it's true. I have been.
Yeah.
Not a great game to play if you don't want to lose for the night, but...
Fair. But hopefully this is helpful to both Unpronounceable and Lord Commander. So, anyways, I think it's going to wrap it up, dude. It's a lot to take in. We'll still be picking this apart. You are gone next week, correct?
I am.
And we will instead be joined, I will be joined, by Not Paradox. He will be coming back to the show to fill the shoes of one Mr. Kyle Fergusson.
I'm honored.
I'm looking forward to having him on. I haven't two-manned a show with him before. Be interesting. Anyways, thanks again to our patrons supporting us over at patreon.com/ITN. Go on over there if you want to support the show. We'd also like to thank our producers, Declan H., Cheesy Bob, Pathagos, and Crusader Dave. Thank you very much, everybody. You can find the whole back catalog of Into the Nexus episodes over at youtube.com/AMoveTV or the website of amove.tv. You can follow the show on Twitter at ITNcast and, back and forth across the table. I almost said around the table, but there's only 2 of us. Kyle, where can everybody find you?
Well, since I'll be out of time, I'll point you towards my YouTube, youtube.com/Kyle Fergusson, where you can find the VODs of those many, many hours of placement games. You can also find them over at twitch.tv/Kyle Fergusson. And there you will see the recordings of said marathons.
Go check it out, everybody. I'm Garrett Art on Twitter. All of the shows I do can be found at amove.tv. I'll be on the Instance tomorrow. I'll be back Tuesday with a new Angry Chicken, and I'll have a new solo show, my R2T2 podcast, which you can find by searching for R2-T2 wherever podcasts can be found. I'll be talking about the Tides of Vengeance patch that just went live in World of Warcraft. So go check that out. That's going to wrap it up for this episode. Thank you again, everybody, for listening. Until next time, good luck and have fun.
Take care.